These are always funny to make though, because it's one of those things where I think I've had like when we've done this previously, I've had people be like, "This is like a podcast or like a DDLC podcast," or they treat it like a podcast, and I'm like, people can do that if they want to. I physically will never be able to actually treat this like a podcast because I don't officially know how to make one of those. Like, there's times where I'm gonna be too visual. I think I'm a too much of a visual person for a podcast. Like, I try to be like, guys, look at this. And I feel like if that's on like Spotify, someone's gonna be like, "Look at what? What does he want us to see?" So I'm like, I don't know. It's one of those people can have it on the background if they want to, but like they can tab back in when necessary. Sometimes I have something I need to show you. Podcasts can have visuals. I know they can have visuals on like certain things, but I think like on like what Spotify they can't, right? Because those are just audio. Because most podcasts are on Spotify, right? Like, there's no other place to put them unless you. I mean, you could just make them YouTube videos. I think most podcasts are actually just on YouTube, and then people just make them YouTube videos. So, actually, maybe my statement isn't correct because yeah, I've seen a lot of podcasts on YouTube. You can just describe the images to people. You're right. I could do that. Well, a zero yap session. Sign me up. Yep, I'm doing it. I kept yapping during the other DDLC streams, and it kept distracting us from what we were supposed to be doing. So at this point, we're making a whole stream for yapping. Also, because there's some more stuff to yap about now with this all stuff, all merch stuff. I could start this off talking about this piece of merch, I guess, because I mean, I don't think there's really much to say about these guys. The new Good Smile plushies. I don't think there's much to really say about these dudes. They're cute. I don't know why they're just keep being called plushies because I'm like, they're keychains, are they not? Like, aren't they? I'm like slightly confused because I'm pretty sure those are keychains, but none of them call them. Nothing about them says keychain. That's what's been confusing me. They're just like plushie, Monica, Sayori, Natsuki, Yuri. But I'm like, they're clearly keychains. I don't know how big they are though, because they look kind of big to be a keychain though. They could also be really small. Plush keychains, yeah, if a plush keychain makes sense. Like, I'm not saying they're not plushies, but it's weird that there's no mention of a keychain, like in the description, and there's clearly a keychain thing coming out of their heads. So that's why I'm like, it's just odd. There's no mention of a keychain. Yeah, and there are no size indicators in the description either, because they just said this would be announced at a later date. Stay tuned for more info. So it seems like they almost have like nothing to really say about these dudes, but they're cute. They might be actually one of the most cute. They might be one of the more cuter plushies we've had for DDLC merch. It feels like every time we get new plushes, they get cuter and cuter. The plushes are evolving. They're like Pokemon. Because I remember in the far beginning, who could forget the far beginning of our DDLC plushes? Was it DDLC old plush? Who could forget where we started? So no, that was the same. There it is. Who could forget where we started? The classic. And then we have the Sanchi plush. It has its own little charm to it, you know? There's its own little charm to the Sanchi plush. I think I actually have that one, yeah. I also have the old one too, but there's some charm to those. And then now they're this. Now they look like human beings. I'm so happy for them. I know the other ones are cute though too. There's also the Fumo actually. There's the Ami Fumo. I totally forgot about that. That one's only at Ami. Yeah, this one. Yeah, the Monica Fumo. The official one. All these other ones are all fan-made. Yeah, official Monica Fumo. I wonder if we're actually going to get the other girls for this, or if we're just getting Monica. I am curious about this. But yeah, I don't think there's really much to say about these plushies. They're cute. They're being worked on by Good Smile. All this does, though, it being made by Good Smile, all this really does... Bro, what happened to her? Like, really, what happened? Like, is she gone? Like, like, this was posted on the subreddit. How long has it been? Because it says confirmed. When? It's been 2 years. What happened? What happened to her? Like, she hasn't, she's been gone for 2 years. Good smile when I get you. Yuri found dead in Tampa, Florida. Only the classic OG plushie. Yeah, I don't think you actually get the OG plushies anymore. I think they're like straight up gone, which is kind of upsetting because that means like the face pillows are gone too. People won't understand the Monica pillow. It's so strange they never gave an update to that. It's very strange. Like, there's just nothing. We know nothing about this. Every time they announce something Good Smile related for DDLC, I always get, like, a little confused because I'm like, they're still not going to talk about Papa Parade Yuri? She's been gone for so long. It's made even worse when it's like they made that Monica one, which, you know, I'm not going to complain about. She's adorable, you know, and I have it. Like, I love the white dress, don't get me wrong. I love white dress Monica, but it is just a little insane that Monica got another one before Natsuki and Yuri even got their Papa Parades. And I'm pretty sure Yuri's was announced before this. Like, man, Yuri's not even like my favorite, but I'm just like, man, I'm trying to complete the collection at the very least. I want them all to have Papa Parade figures. We have to get through Yuri to get Natsuki, okay? It's important. But, yeah, not much for me to really say about these. I think the big thing for me to really talk about was the funny announcement from Serenity Forge. So, this got announced. This was a conversation topic for, like, the entirety of yesterday for people. Myself included. At least yesterday at the time of streaming this. Yeah, these things got announced. So, Serenity Forge was giving out some stuff at PAX. This isn't anything new. They usually give out stuff at PAX. But one of the things they gave out at PAX is different covers for the DDLC Plus. There's exclusive game covers for the game featuring the other girls. You could get one of Sayori, Natsuki, or Yuri, since, you know, the original one only has Monica. So, you know, that's cool. That's pretty sick. Until everyone was like, oh man, I can't go to PAX. How am I going to get it? Don't worry, you can order it online. Until you go to the online and old Natsuki's sold out. I actually didn't know that. Oh my god, this was not sold out when I looked at this yesterday. Damn. Natsuki's is the only one that's sold out, actually. That's actually, there's something really funny about that. Natsuki might legitimately be like the second most popular girl. Because this is like the second time Natsuki's won something. Because if I remember, some of you might know. Some DDLC veterans might remember this. Like a long time ago. Do you guys remember the, was it the merch contest? Or like the fan art contest thing? Where they were essentially like making people pick who like their favorite girl was. And in this contest, I think because beforehand they did a poll before asking people who their favorite girl was, and just Monica just won just instantly. So then they did another one, but this time they didn't let people choose Monica. They let them choose like Sayori, Natsuki, and Yuri, but they did let you choose Monica, but they kind of hid the option like away. So they didn't really let people choose Monica. But I think in that one, Natsuki won that too. So I'm like, I think Natsuki is weirdly like probably like the second most popular like character maybe. Obviously, a lot of these girls have a really big part of the fan base loves each and every one of them. But like, I don't know. Natsuki, I've been seeing a lot of people just like Natsuki if they can't pick Monica. I feel like Sayori's the most loved after Monica in my experience. I feel like with Sayori, I think a good portion of people, mainly it's I don't want to use this word specifically, because I was going to say it's mainly pity for Sayori, but that seems kind of mean. I mainly meant to say is a lot of people mainly feel bad for Sayori, more so than having her as their favorite. I know a lot of people do have Sayori as their favorite, don't get me wrong, but I think a good majority of people, it's more so they feel bad for Sayori, and they're like, damn, you know? It's like, when it comes to picking a favorite, I see a lot of people tend to pick, like, either Natsuki or Yuri, because those are the ones who have actual, like, routes in the game. Sayori obviously has a route in base DDLC, but it's not like a fully completed one. A lot of the time, I always feel like it feels like an extra route, to be honest with you. Because you can't even spend time with her over the weekend. You have to pick Natsuki or Yuri. Like, the game forces you to pick Natsuki or Yuri, which I've stated this before. It definitely feels like the intention of the game is that you're supposed to ignore Sayori, and you're supposed to make poems for either Natsuki or Yuri, and then when the game pulls the little Sayori actually likes you type of deal, you're supposed to feel bad because you're like, oh my god, I've been ignoring her this whole time. Right? It feels like you're intended to ignore Sayori so that when you do a second playthrough, because you think, maybe things can be different, and you're like, I'm gonna make poems for Sayori. Then you do her little route with her little, CGs and everything. But then you're essentially told, you realize you can't do anything different. Even if you make poems for Sayori, you can't change anything. That's how I feel the intention of the game was supposed to be. Like, I don't think people were intended to go down Sayori's route their first run through, to be honest with you. But that's just my little thing. I just found it surprising Natsuki sold out. But to go back, Natsuki sold out. She sold out. Look at her, making her own convention version. But yeah, to go back to this, yeah, so I will just say, before I get into the nitty-gritty of my opinions on this, I love the art here. It is beautiful. This art is beautiful. I love it. I love that it's all connected in a way, it's cute. They're all really cute. Honestly, Natsuki is probably my favorite art, if I'm not counting the Monica one, because I don't know, the Monica one is still my favorite one. Wow, bias, but Natsuki one's really cute. I love how she's like jumping and she has it in the little air. It's cute. I like it. I like the Sayori's kind of like holding hers up to her face. That's very cute. Yuri's just holding it. She's just giving a tired smile and she's holding it. It makes sense. Also, she's got her little sleeves. She's holding her little sleeves up, I'm assuming over her wrists so that you can't see her cuts. But Yuri also gives off the vibes of someone who'd have like little hold her sleeves up, He looks like the type of person to do that anyway. So that's cute. I like this art. However, $40 is kind of crazy. So my main issue with this is that you cannot get these covers separately, as you may see. To get these covers, you have to buy, essentially, the entire game again. These are not just the covers. These are the entirety of the physical editions of these games. If people remember, I have to say this because I keep forgetting that DDLC Plus is now almost 3 years old. Actually, no, I think it is 3 years old. It turned 3 this year, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I think it turned 4. Oh my god. But... for those who remember, this is all the stuff that comes with every physical copy of DDLC Plus. Every physical copy of Plus comes with all this stuff. It comes with the soundtrack, it comes with the poem, the membership card, the character standees, and all that stuff. To get these covers, you're essentially buying an entire copy of DDLC Plus just to get all this. And so that means you have to pay $40. Which is kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, to me, this would make more sense if DDLC Plus, if this was released around the time DDLC Plus came out. Because then people might have not had the game yet. They can go and be like, oh, cool, I don't have DDLC Plus yet. And my favorite girl is Sayori. So this is a perfect deal for me. But this game is like 4 years old, and it also came out for free on Epic Games at one point. And by the way, that was very advertised too. Like by, I think it was by Serenity Forge and everything. They were really advertising. They're like, hey, the game's out on free for Epic Games for Valentine's Day. That was the whole shtick for that one Valentine's Day. I don't remember what year it was. So I'm like, a lot of people already have DDLC Plus. So it feels weird to do this now of all times. Not to mention that it's like, I'm assuming the reason why the price is so big is because of the copy of DDLC Plus that's within it. Because I'm like, take DDLC Plus, it's like, what, $15? So take the 40 minus 15. This would be $25 without DDLC Plus. And I'm like, I think that would be way better. I think a lot more people would get it. Because I don't think everybody needs DDLC Plus again. Like, they should have just let you do this. Like, it's just ridiculous. Miu10 has 5 copies of DDLC Plus on the Nintendo Switch. He rebought the Monica version just because. To be fair, I am probably not the best person to speak because I did buy this game twice. I bought this on Steam and also on the Nintendo Switch version. Mainly because I wanted the case on I wanted the physical copy on the Nintendo Switch because I thought it would be funny And I just wanted to, the fact that DDLC has a case on a Nintendo console was just insane to me. So I did buy it physically. Actually, I bought this game 3 times because I just remembered I also bought it digitally because my physical copy wasn't going to show up the day it came out and I wanted to play it, and I bought it digitally on the Switch too. I bought this game 3 times. So I'm probably not the best person to criticize this. However, my 3 copies of the game were $15 in my defense. This is still $40. So, like, it's a little ridiculous. DDLC is timeless, though. Who else thinks so? I'm not saying DDLC isn't timeless. My point is that buying multiple copies of a game you already own just kind of sucks. Because the other thing is what I mentioned earlier about all of the arts being connected kind of implies that they want you to buy all 4 of them so that you can have them all lined up like this. But the problem with that is, of course, as I said, the pricing. You have to buy $40. This is going to equal like $120 without shipping to get all 3 of these girls. All of this is $120. And then you'll also have 3 copies of DDLC Plus. You'll have 3 cartridges of DDLC Plus as well for the Nintendo Switch. Which, by the way, I also thought was also kind of weird that it's only for Nintendo Switch. I'm not really sure why that is, too, because this game also released on PlayStation. And I think Xbox? Did it release on Xbox? Voice crack, but kind of. Did it release on Xbox? I don't know. Did it? Is it on Xbox? Platforms. It said it right there. Yeah, it is on Xbox. Did it release physically on Xbox? Yeah, it is on Xbox. Yeah, why is it only PlayStation? That's kind of weird. I mean, that was only Switch. That's kind of weird. I mean, whatever. Maybe they'll do the PlayStation one in the future. But, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I really wish there was just a way to get it separately. Like, it just feels weird to force people to buy the game again alongside all these things alongside the other physical versions. Like, I feel like there should have been another version of this. Because I think this would be really useful for people who don't have it yet, right? Like, this would be very, very useful for people who don't have it. But I think for ones who do, like, this is just not very worth it. But there's a lot of other things I also have issues with this as well. But as I wanted to preface, I love this art and I love this thing. But also, I'm gonna be a little rude. Why is it called the Sayori exclusive version when the only thing that's Sayori about this is the case? And then this goes for all of them. Like, I feel like they should have given a little bit more, like, Doki-specific merch for each of these packs. Like, it feels a little weird that it's like, yeah, guys, get the Natsuki exclusive version. It comes with all the regular stuff that already was in DDLC Plus. But now a Natsuki case. Like, it just feels really weird that this was, like, the thing they decided to release. Like, they didn't give any sort of Natsuki-related thing. Hell, you still get a poem from Monica in this. Like, the least they could do was give us a poem from the girl that it's supposed to be associated with. Like, you still get a poem from Monica in here. The Natsuki version comes now with a poem from Monica. Ooh, features Monica. Wait, you don't get a Natsuki poem in the Natsuki box? Yeah, no, you don't. In none of these. You don't get a poem from the specific girl. You still get the plus poem, which, again, I like the control poem. I think it's great. But it is still just kind of insane to me that the only thing to Sayori about this is, well, the case. I mean, and I do like... I do also really appreciate the fact that they do come with a special little backing compared to the Monica one, because the Monica one actually doesn't have like a back like this, where it just shows their like the back of their heads. The Monica one, obviously, as you guys know, has, you know, the back of it. They don't show it here, but it's just a standard, like, you know, Nintendo Switch backing thing, or the case backing, like, oh, join the psychological horror of the game, you know, stuff like that. Oh yeah, there is an Xbox case, look at it. But it has like a standard casing, so it is kind of cool it comes with this. I also think it's kind of cute that it still says this game is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. I would have loved if this was the actual back to the Monica one, but I'm assuming due to like publishing issues, they probably couldn't actually do this, because this definitely does give off the vibe of not spoiling anything the game has to offer. Like, this would have captured the DDLC feeling a lot better if this was the physical copy of the game. Like, without you essentially knowing anything about this game. And just being like, what the fuck is this? But, you know. I mean, it's cool that it's a reversible cover, I guess, technically. But not really reversible, because you have to buy an entire game like this. I wish it was a reversible cover. You have to buy a whole game. Again, I love these. The reason why I'm so mad is because of the fact that it's so hard to get these. Like, that's the reason why I love this, because it's so hard to get this. I think one of the things, too, that could have been kind of neat, that I think the merch thing implied it, too, is that if Monica did have a version here, I think it was implied in this picture when they were showing them, is that, all of these show, all of these show their, like, the back of them, like, you know, like, this shows the back of their heads. But I think it would have been really cool if there was a Monica version, but she was still looking at you on the back, because, you know, it would have obviously made sense, because it would have showed that she's aware and stuff. I don't know. That could have been neat if they did that, but, you know, that would also require them to make a whole different version with just Monica, and I don't want them to do that, actually. You know, it's already $40. I don't need to do this. I don't need them doing this right now. She still does? What do you mean she still does? The new Switch covers for the DSOs getting Easter egg when reversed. Oh, okay. I think that's what Draggy was trying to say. Yeah, Monica's hair is still, it's the play. Okay, so they are, so by still keeping the back of the original, it does it as still to imply that she is still looking at you. Okay. So she is still looking at you. That's cute. Okay, so they did do it. All right. That's neat. Still though, $40? Still though, I'm still upset about this. All right, and then to top it all off, I haven't even mentioned the fact, the thing that really upsets me, even more so. They're only available. They're limited time only. They're only available for 2 weeks. So you better hurry up, because you can only get them for 2 weeks. So I'm just like, come on, man. Like, not only are you paying $40, yeah, it's also, you can also only pay $40 for 2 weeks. Also, you can't even get the Natsuki one anymore because it's sold out. So, I don't know. Limited time exclusive is so cool. I mean, who knows? Maybe they mean just for now. Maybe they'll bring it back like they did with the Monica Nendroid, but I'm not sure. I don't know. It's just it kind of sucks. Because like I said, I love this art. It's beautiful art. And I would love to just have it, you know, somewhere. If it was like a poster, it'd be cool if it was a poster. It'd be cool if you could just buy the covers by themselves. You could just put the cover over your DDLC Plus copy, you know? That would be nice. There's a lot of things I think that would be cool if you could just buy it that way. And I feel like it'd be a lot easier, and I feel like they'd make more money, but I'd say that. But to be fair, the Natsuki one's already sold out. So, you know, maybe they wouldn't make more money. Well, because apparently a lot of people bought $40 just for a picture of Natsuki. Because my point was that it also gets a little funny when you look at this, because you look at this, right? A copy of this game is $40. So let's say you're a big Natsuki fan, right? Let's say you're a huge Natsuki fan. You want this because you want that art of Natsuki. It's $40. You know what else is around $40? The Natsuki Nendroid. That's where I'm like, the Natsuki Nendroid was around this price. $51. So it's a little bit more, about $10 more. But the point still stands. Like, if you really wanted something that was specifically Natsuki related, you probably could have got something that's way better than this and just the game and just all these guys. It's just weird, man. Again, I love these, but I just feel like they could have definitely been a lot better. I am glad we're still getting new March stuff, though, ultimately. I mean, that is just really what I have to say about that. You know, I'm glad we're getting new March stuff. I think the Monica Nendroid also recently restocked, so that's pretty cool for people who haven't gotten that yet. I think it restocked on here. Oh my god, $100. It was definitely a lot cheaper when I saw it. I think it's also restocked on Good Smile, so I think it's a lot cheaper, I think, on Good Smile for people who wanted it there. At least I think it was at Good Smile, right? I think Good Smile did restock it. Here it is. Yeah, she is restocked. It kind of sucks they only re-released Monica, though. Because I'm hoping they re-release the other girls, too. Because I know a lot of people haven't been able to get them as well. So, I mean, I guess Monica's the oldest one out of all of them. So that's probably why they reshipped her. It makes sense. It makes sense. There's not really much else to talk about with the merch stuff. I love it. I mean, I guess I could go into detail about my crazy theory that I did earlier. I don't know. I was up in the middle of the night and I was doing stuff, and then I thought about this and I had to say it. I had to throw it out there. So I was like, extremely insane reaching theory, but is the next piece of DDLC content we're getting mobile related? Only reason I say this is because one of the DIY accessories of the Monica and Android is a phone. Something she was said to have, but we never had design for. This is true. This is where this is a little phone. I thought this was just kind of random because I was like, why the hell are they giving her a phone? It's like, we know Monica has a phone. We never saw her phone, so it felt kind of weird. But the other thing was, I also thought it was weird. We're getting a mobile accessories bundle, and I was like, that also just felt weird to me. I don't know. Maybe it's because it felt weird to me because I'm like, there's nothing DDLC related on phones. Like, I don't know. I was like, maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, if you were to give DDLC things, wouldn't it be computer stuff? It's like the game's on a computer. Like, it comes from a computer. Like, wouldn't it make more sense to give, like, I don't know, like a mouse pad or a mouse? Was it a DDLC mouse, keyboard, mouse? I mean, a keyboard is probably way more expensive to make than, you know, phone card holders, of course. That's why I said a mouse pad, though. I feel like a mouse pad is really cheap. You can't tell me mouse pads aren't cheap to make. That's where I'm like, it feels weird, you know? Like, I call it like a whole ass, like, accessory thing, like a cleaning cloth, a phone card holder, photo cards, and a phone standee. Like, I mean, unless they're really going the route of the don't y'all have phones, but like, I don't know. It feels really weird. I was like, I don't know. It could just be a random thing and this was cheap to make, and I could just be looking too much into it, you know? And everyone's gonna call me the modern day DDLC map pet. To be fair though, he reached harder in his DDLC theories than I did, okay? I still think his is a harder reach. Some of his shit was just said because he said it happened in FNAF, so I'm still not as bad. Still love map pet though. You think Dan came up with those merch ideas or someone else in Team Salvato? It definitely wasn't Dan. I don't, not to stack as if like Dan can't do that. It's just, I think it's mainly, I don't think Dan's that interested in coming up with stuff like this. I think he definitely just has Team Salvato doing this stuff. I will 100% think he has them handling this stuff. I do not think he is sitting here like looking. And the most I think happens is that it's like, if I had to guess, Team Salvato probably approves the designs of the merch, and they probably like send it over to him if he has any sort of concerns. And at most he'll probably just be like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then he probably just goes back to working on his games. Like, I don't think Dan is like looking over every single design. Or I don't think Dan's coming up with these designs is what I meant to say. I think at most he's just approving them. Really. Is all that stuff they have on there just from packs, or will they come with exclusive versions? Because I'm confused. They were doing showing in one tweet, not on the site. I think some of this stuff is going to be exclusive to packs. It seems like the only thing that we might be getting from packs might literally be the that fucking the covers. Because that is also true for a lot of things. A lot of things get exclusive packs stuff. So I think that stuff's going to be exclusive. DDLC gacha game, finally. Don't do that. Don't give zero hope, bro. I already said I'm already in too many gachas. Like, you know, I am trying to keep up with, like, Honkai and Zenless. And to be fair, I've been doing a pretty good job of keeping up with both of them. And I'm like, I can't physically get into a third one, you know? I don't think I can consistently get into a third gacha. I'd get into a DDLC gacha, though. I don't know how they do it. There's only, like, 4 characters. But I'd get into it, though. Bro, DDLC gacha collab. DDLC has a collab with Honkai Star Rail. That's this. Yeah, I don't know. I could be totally wrong about this. That's just what I think. You know, I could be definitely wrong. I could be so wrong that I'm just fucking weird, but you know, I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out into the ether so that if in the coming days or maybe even on the anniversary this year, they come out and they say like, we're making a mobile game or something, or some sort of weird, or maybe they do a port to the phone. I know in this tweet I mentioned that I don't think it's going to be a port from DDLC to the phones, because I feel like it'd be really annoying to try to figure out how to make that work. But who knows? Maybe it'll be like a port of DDLC Plus to the phone, since, you know, that already has like a fake browser. So maybe they'll give you a fake phone browser. Maybe they'll find a way to do that. I don't know. But I just wanted to say that, so that maybe, just in case, if that happens, I can say, I was right! And I can point it in everyone's faces and say, ah, I'm correct. I was correct about the game that I have too much obsession with. Me! Being able to join in with their suggestions. But don't worry, we have Headlockers. Then, like I said, we'll take some topics from chat afterwards too. We can just discuss stuff. Headlocker has two. He says, the state of the modding community and potential future merch you expect or want to see. Well, the first one's easy because I actually don't know the state of the modding community. Like, I don't know. I haven't checked the subreddit and I don't know how long. I think the last time I checked the subreddit was to get the Keeper of Reality update. Actually, no. It was to get... Was it actually, no? Was it to get Rock and Doki's? Because actually, no. I saw about Rock and Doki's. I saw that on Twitter, actually. Because, Hquip, again, I don't know how to say their name. I saw they made a post about the fact that they worked on that mod. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I think I was like, let me, you know, play this, because I think it's short. That's how I figured out about that. So then I think I went to the subreddit to download it. So I'm like, I don't really know the state of the modding community, to be honest with you. I was like, what I'm playing right now is Keeper of Reality. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's good. Keeper of Reality's cool. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't really know the state of it. The most recent thing I heard about the modding community is the modding Discord announcing a DDLC modding expo. It seems like their mod jam. I know they did that last year, so I mean, it's cool that they're still doing that nowadays. Because yeah, I know they did a modding expo last year. The one thing I know about the modding community is I think they're also doing a, there's a contest, isn't there? Wasn't there like a creative contest or something? What do you think about the theory about Monica potentially created MC for the purpose of being the vessel for the players so she could communicate with them? I personally believe Monica created MC by the time MS turned DDLC into the game it is currently. What do you think about the lore for DDLC Plus in general? I think the lore for DDLC Plus in general is fine. I didn't hate it. I do like how they said that you can essentially ignore some of the lore, but you can also, like, you know, embrace it if you want to. Some of it's okay. I think the only real part of the lore that I really vibe with is the whole side stories and like being the world where Monica doesn't have the awareness and how different it played out. I kind of like that. That's like the only real piece of the lore I kind of really, you know, vibe with. A lot of the other parts of the lore, I can just kind of leave. Like, I don't know. I was into it a little bit, but I guess I kind of also do like the idea of, the reason why DDLC was fucking up was because something was leaking from a different, like, virtual machine universe was leaking into DDLC. So that's why DDLC itself was fucking up. That's kind of interesting, but I don't know. I kind of like the original game's reason of just Monica has self-awareness, you know? So, I mean, yeah, the DDLC plus lore is eh. Because I'm also not really a big fan of Monica creating MC. That feels kind of weird. I'm not like a huge fan of that whole thing. Feels kind of odd. Oh no, yeah. Here it is. Yeah. The creatives. Yeah, DDLC creatives. Yeah, this thing. Yeah, this was neat. I didn't know it was actually done. Look at that. Yeah, I didn't know it was actually a whole little done. This is cute. This is the last thing I know about it. This was the last thing I knew about it. So I don't think I really have a good answer to the I don't really have a good answer to the modding community, state of the modding community question. I mean, it looks good. New blazers. Oh, look at that. New blazers. Oh my god. Oh my god, Lo Polinotsky. I love her. Wait, Lo Polinotsky's great. Oh my gosh, wait, is this who made I know who made this. Was it yeah, it was Shiro. Yeah, I follow this person on Twitter, bro. Their fucking sprite art is amazing, dude. I always fucking see Shiro all the time. Rooftop lounge. Who made this one? Oh my gosh, look at her. Is she laying down up there? Monica's dirty on the floor. Get up. Oh, look at the Seonica outfit. That's cute. Monica, get up. These are cute though. Yeah, they also had and yeah, the judges, they had Satchely as one of the judges. And there she is. Oh my god, Static Quit was here. Yo. Static Quit's cool. Yeah. I don't really know the state. I know the most I can say is I can tell why before I left, I know the modding community was, I mean, at least the subreddit aspect of it felt very critical, like very severely critical. I'm not sure if that's really changed. Again, I don't really check the subreddit. I don't really use Reddit, but I know that was, but again, that was really just the subreddit aspect of the community, if I'm being 100% honest. Because like, if you talk about mods on like, I think anywhere else, most people aren't really that like, critical of the mods they play. People just kind of just talk about shit. I think like exit music is probably one of the most like popular ones. I think when I was looking at the DDLC community on Twitter, people were like talking about how much they love that mod. So I mean, yeah, that was really the only thing I remembered last I checked. So I don't know. That could be totally different. Like I said, I don't really check Reddit too much. I only really check Reddit when I need to go grab a new mod. You think there's a zero sneak in one of these art? No one's sneaking me in their art. Yeah, that's the only thing I really know. I mean, it seems like the state of the modding community is pretty cool, though. I mean, there's some mods I think I'm still looking forward to. There was like an Amori fan game. Like, not Amori fan game. There was a Amori, I think it was a DDLC fan game that was like based off Amori, and it was called Sayori. And I thought that looked pretty cool. I don't know if that's out yet. But I know I was looking forward to that. That looked pretty sick. I don't know. See, I don't want to say things I'm looking forward to, because like I feel like when I start saying that, there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna show up and be like, oh, he's not looking forward to this mod? Oh wow, he must hate this. Or he's not looking forward to my mod. And I'm sitting here like, look man, I can't just remember every single thing that's coming out. So I'm like, I was like, yeah, I mean, you know, any of the things we haven't finished, you know, there's a good ending. There's Keeper of Reality Act 3, despite the fact that I haven't finished Act 2 yet. If I knew about it, would participated. I think I knew about it for a bit. I'm not sure how much it was advertised in terms of the modding. It didn't seem it had a lot of submissions. I don't know if that was just because people were busy, or if that was just because a lot of people didn't seem to know about it. I don't know. But it looked pretty cool regardless. Well, I mean, to be fair, there's only so much people can really add with the DDLC modding community. It seemed like it was mainly an art thing. So, I mean, if you don't know how to do art, you can't really submit. And I was like, so, and a lot of people in the modding community are mainly writers. So, you know, not a lot of people know how to do art. I don't know how to do art. Latest update on that Amori thing is 2 months ago. Damn. I mean, maybe they're still hard at work. I don't know why I'm sitting here acting like 2 months means it's dead. I haven't given an update in like a lot, in like 5 months. And I'm still working on Vigilante. But yeah, I can't really answer the first one all too well, but I feel like I hope I gave a satisfactory answer. But the second one, potential/future merch you expect or want to see. That is actually a good question. Future merch I want to see. I mean, I think the thing I kept saying was Fumos. I kept wanting a Fumo. I definitely kept wanting a DDLC Fumo because Fumos are cute. But now we have the Monica Fumo. So, I mean, now all I really want is what the other girls to have Fumos. You know, I want like a Sayori Fumo, Natsuki Fumo, Yuri Fumo. Those would be cool. Obviously, I want Yuri and Natsuki to get Papa Parade figures. I think, you know, I feel like I want them all to have their pop-up parades. I want, you know what I actually really want? I don't know if they'd be allowed to sell it though, right? As an official capacity. Because I was gonna say, like, I want a DDLC GameCube controller. like an official DDLC GameCube controller. Because I think it would be funny, because it's a way to tie in the fact that DDLC was created by a Melee player, and that the first group of people who made DDLC, or who played DDLC, the first few group of people who streamed and played DDLC were Melee players, because Dan sent it to Melee players to try out the game. So, like, they were the first few ones to stream it. So I'm kind of like, I think a DDLC GameCube controller would be pretty fucking cool. I don't know if they'd be able to do it though, because like I'm not sure when Nintendo would really stand on that whole situation, you know? Probably have to ask them. But I don't know. It seems like Nintendo says yes to other people. You have like a fucking Monster Hunter Pro controller. So, I mean, it'd be cool. Like, it'd be pretty sick. Just a GameCube controller, or not game controller, or just a DDLC, like, game controller in general. It'd be cool to have, like, a the Nintendo Switch Pro controller of DDLC. Since it seems they want to give exclusive Nintendo covers anyway. Like, you know, it'd be cool to have, like, a DDLC, like, DDLC Joy-Cons. I don't know. Those would be kind of cool. Like, a controller of some kind, I think, could be neat. I'd be down for that. That'd be kind of cool. I'm trying to think. What is that kind of an interesting question? Chat, you guys can answer these questions too if you want. Also, is there any like potential future merch you expect or want to see from DDLC stuff? Honestly, I think I said it earlier because I was like, why aren't they making computer stuff? I would kind of want that. I kind of want that. You know, like, can we get like a DDLC keyboard or like a DDLC mouse? I want a poster / desk mat of the covers with the front and back side now. Okay, well, yeah, I want that too. That is also what I want. Alright, I'll be taking a DDLC PS5 controller. Yeah, like just a controller of some kind would be cool. But yeah, like that's what I'm like, a DDLC mouse or DDLC friggin', I don't know. I think a DDLC mouse pad is like the easiest thing that I'm surprised they haven't. Oh no, they have done that. There is a DDLC mouse pad. What am I talking about? I keep saying that when like there was one. There just hasn't been a new one. There was one back on the old Good Smile thing. I don't know if it's still up. But there was a DDLC mouse pad. I know that for sure. Maybe a notebook similar to that one in the poem mini game. I think there is a DDLC notebook too. I know they made a bunch of stuff like that. A Parfait Girls manga. A fully official Parfait Girls manga would be funny. But like that would also probably take a lot of work. It would be funny though. It could probably just be like a fake manga. A DDLC USB stick. Form colors to match each girl. That would actually be kind of cute. It would actually be really easy to make too, I think. So that would be kind of cute.
Almost missed this stream. Hi chat and hi Zero Afros 1 Sayo Wave.
Thank you for the resub, Chibi Nuts. Welcome to the stream. Do not Google DDLC mousepad. Yeah, I know there's a lot of fan-made mousepads, and I know there's the boob one. I know there is the boob one. But yeah, I think that's mainly my answer to that. I'm kind of curious if we'll ever get those. We might be able to get that stuff, though. It seems like they're very keen on making some DDLC merch. Whether they're making DDLC merch because we're going to get some sort of new DDLC content in terms of like a game or something, I'm not sure. Maybe. I'm still on the fence. I'm still on the fact that they can make a DDLC spin-off game, man. There could be some sort of DDLC spin-off game created. Like, you know, they could create a party game, damn it. Give me a DDLC party game. It can work. Trust me. It can work. I think it would work. It would be funny. And I would play it. So that's all that matters. All that matters is that I'd play it. When have you sent the reply to the tweet right now? You can send it in the chat, guys. Randy, I see you in the chat. He went to go get food, didn't he? I saw him say that earlier. There was either one who I saw say he's going to go get food. You guys don't have to send it here. You can just send your questions in the chat. Which character do you see get mischaracterized the most? I guess I can answer the... I know, like, as a Monica fan, it's probably super easy to just be like, it's Monica. It's obviously Monica. But, like, I'm gonna be honest, it really isn't Monica anymore. It used to be Monica, like, way back in the day, I think. Like, way back then, it used to be Monica heavily. Like, people used to very much push the whole Monica is evil, I think, type of thing. But nowadays, that's really rare to see. If I'm gonna be honest... The character that probably gets mischaracterized the most, I feel like this was something I kind of talked about before. It might be Sayori. A lot of chat saying Yuri. I don't know. Because I feel like with Yuri, they kind of get Yuri sort of correct. I was going to say Natsuki because I was going to say like a lot of people tend to make Natsuki too overtly mean. But I think ever since the side stories came out, a lot of people have been making more chill Natsuki interpretations, which I think are good. I think a lot of people have been making Natsuki more of the chill one, which, is kind of, her character. She gets fired up when she's angry, obviously, but I think most people are starting to understand Natsuki for the most part is pretty calm and chill. But yeah, no, I will say it might be Sayori, because I've mentioned this before where I'm like, Sayori in the beginning was having an issue with a lot of people making her dumber than what she actually was. And so that was a problem. However, to correct this, people started making Sayori a little too smarter. Like, they started overcorrecting the problem, and now people may give Sayori way too much credit, and they're making her way too smart. When really the reality of the situation is Sayori is kind of just, a mix. Like, she's not fully dumb, but to sit here and act as if she's like extremely smart, I think or even just smart in general. Like, I'm not saying she's dumb, but she's also not too bright either. Like, people gotta remember, Sayori's still clumsy, and she's still a bit, like, MC's dense, but Sayori is also a little dense too. Like, she's not exactly the brightest in the room. She's very emotionally intelligent. She's an airhead. Exactly what Chibi Knots 3 said in chat. Sayori's an airhead. That is essentially what it is. And I feel like a lot of people either forget to make her an airhead, or they make her too stupid. I think that's the one I see mischaracterized the most. But to be honest with you though, I think one of the reasons as to why that might be is because of the fact that Sayori in the base game doesn't really do enough to give people the impression of how you're supposed to interpret her. Like, that's kind of I think that's kind of the problem, is that Sayori doesn't really do much. She's not in the game long enough for people to really know this. Because if a lot of people really sit down and realize this before the side stories, not trying to be rude, but Sayori was barely a character. Like, we really didn't know much about her compared to, like, Natsuki, Yuri, and even Monica due to Act 3. Like, Natsuki and Yuri, we got to know a bunch of stuff about them because of, the weekend scene, and because of all of the conversations we get with them. We're able to learn a lot about both Natsuki and Yuri. Monica gets time to learn about her because of Act 3. Act 3 lets us learn a whole bunch of stuff about Monica. She might be the one we know the most about, to be honest with you. But Sayori, due to the fact that MC is her childhood friend, so she doesn't really have to reintroduce herself to him, she doesn't really say a lot of stuff about, like, her likes, dislikes, and all that other stuff. Like, a lot of that isn't really brought up. So, the other issue with that comes from the fact that she's also not really in the game for that long. She's only in Act 1. Like, once she's dead, she's gone. She's not in the rest of the game anymore. So it's like, I think that's kind of the problem with her character, and I think not trying to be fully rude to the character, but it also does lead to a lot of people saying that Sayori is also kind of feels like she was only really created to be a plot device. As Deck has said, she does kind of feel like she is meant to be there to be the bait and switch. She is there to be the childhood friend that dies. She's supposed to be the one that you forget about, and then she dies, and then you're like, oh my god, I can't believe she died. What have I done? She's supposed to be the whole bait and switch. Her death is the entire catalyst that kicks off the whole game. Like, she's the stepping stone. But I think it was the fact of why so many people resonated with her. Like, I feel like I'm being very rude to Sayori, so I will, now go into the fact of saying why she became so popular. I think the reason why so many people resonated with Sayori was because of how relatable her depression was. Like, she wasn't just a plot device and everything, and she did absolutely nothing. She does have her talk when she talks about her depression. I think a lot of people resonated with that talk and that confession that Sayori has. Like, I think that resonating with so many people was why she is some people's favorite character. Is because a lot of people were like, wow, yeah, I really, they really feel where she's coming from and everything with that. Like, I think that's really how it works. That wasn't nice. I'm sorry. That's why I'm trying to be nice right now. They use Sayori for plot development. That's also, I think a lot of people resonated with her message. I think a lot of people resonated with that message. So, you know, like I said, she's not a full-on plot device. I don't want to say it like she's a bad character or anything, but I'm just trying to say that because to me personally, it was always like surprising when I'd hear people say that like Sayori's their favorite character, because I was always like, really? It was always surprising to me because I was always like, there's way more interesting characters in DDLC to me. So it was always so funny to hear some people say like, oh, Sayori's my favorite. And I'm like, really now? But, you know, it's like now with the side stories now, I think Sayori is way more of a character. You know, she isn't just a plot device anymore now. Or at least part of her is not a plot device. She's like half plot device. Because she doesn't get enough time to become a full character in my eyes, I think. At least compared to the other ones. Because an example is like, we don't even know Sayori's hobbies from the base game. Like, taking side story info away, we don't even know what Sayori's hobbies are. Or what her likes or dislikes are. Like, we have people who had to assume that stuff. People had to get info of things she does in the base game and assume that she likes these things. Like, people assumed Sayori liked to draw because she was drawing the banner. But it was like, that could have just been a job that Monica gave her. We don't even know if she likes drawing. Like with Natsuki and Yuri, we know what they like and dislike. We know the things that Natsuki likes is cupcakes. She likes to bake. She likes manga. She likes shorter poems. You know, it's like she likes short words she likes short, concise, you know, stories. You know, it's like we know what Yuri likes. She likes tea. She doesn't seem to have an opinion on chocolate, but despite us sharing some with her, you know, it's like she likes tea. She likes long books. Sayori, the most we know is that she likes bittersweet poems, but even she seems to not really know that she liked that. So apparently she also just discovered that that's what she likes. Like, it's like a lot of the things is like stuff we had to infer from her, like her poem words. Like, it wasn't stuff that she herself said. It was stuff that we had to use with like surrounding info. And I feel like when you have to do that, that just kind of goes to show that, like, you know, there wasn't really much there. She likes plushies. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, she has them. I would assume she would. I think the most mischaracterized is MC. Well, I mean, that's gonna be mean. That's gonna spark some debate. Well, I mean, I can't really say MC because, I mean, he's not really a character. I'm sorry. I know it's gonna hurt a lot of people's feelings, but I'm just saying. I am sorry. Get out. All right, get out your MC slander. I'm not. Hold on. Before I guess we can dive into that if people want to. And MC is not a blank slate. He is just as much as a character as the MC in my side, in my opinion. Okay, well, the MC in my side is also barely a character. Okay, says even Xenoglitchy says true, but even in my side, MC has an actual personality to an extent. DDLC MC doesn't much to him. I feel like they're both not really characters. I feel like what people are starting to, I think the problem when someone says that MC isn't a character, I think what people are misconstruing this as is when people say that MC isn't a character, they mean in the sense that he isn't an interesting character. MC is a very standard visual novel MC. Like, nothing about him is that unique. He doesn't do anything that's any different from any standard MC in a visual novel. He quite literally exists to move the plot forward. Like, he doesn't really do anything that's that, like, out of the ordinary or anything. Hell, the story's not even really about him. Like, that's the other reason why people say he's not really a character. We don't know anything about his backstory. We don't know anything about, like, that's the thing. That's what makes him less of a character. He doesn't even have lore. Also, like, we don't know about his parents. We don't know if he has parents. We don't know anything about his parents. Like, we don't know really anything about him. The only thing we know is that he likes manga. He likes to read manga. That's it. Like, and then to be fair, it's like, that's what he's meant to be, you know? Like, he's meant to be that. Dan even says that himself. He's like, MC's not meant to be an interesting character. So that's why people mean when they're like, he's not that. It's like, he's not really a character. MC is just as interesting as the people in real life, not that interesting. That is just, I feel like you need to talk to more people in real life if you think that. Those are all, you can talk to anybody in real life and they'd be way more interesting than MC. Like, we don't know MC's goals, his ambitions. Honestly, he's as much is honestly no wonder Sayori's his childhood friend. We know about as much as one as we do the other. No wonder they're friends. Like, that's why to me, it's always been so weird when I hear people say they hate the guy or that they love him, because I'm like, he doesn't really do anything. Like, you know, like, he doesn't really do anything. It feels weird to even like hate or love the guy. He's barely a character. He's so little of a character. They didn't even give him dialogue in Act 2 and it still progressed. Not everyone has goals. It's called being listless. But that's the thing, though. If you are creating a character has to have things like that for people to attach to them. He doesn't have anything. That was my point. A character cannot have goals, but that's the point. That's supposed to be a part of their personality. MC doesn't have anything that actually would make you think that he's nihilistic. Or nihilistic. I don't know how you're really supposed to say that. He has nothing that makes you think that. They just don't have any info on him. Like, that's not a part of his personality. We just don't know anything about him. The writers didn't give him anything. Like, that wasn't, like, it was intentional for him to not have that because he's not important. That's the main thing. He's not important to the story overall. That's why I'm like, that's why I say, so I'm like, I don't really have a strong opinion on the guy because, I mean, the writers didn't even have a strong opinion on the guy. Why should I? He's really not a character. We don't know this man's go-to McDonald's order. We don't. What would he get? Would he get the Big Mac? The Quarter Pounder? We would never know. Someone said that the hate I've seen for MC was for Sayori's confession to him, which is crazy because they're both high school kids and he's just learning that his best friend has been suffering in silence. He does not have the knowledge of a psychologist to know what to say. Yeah, I think I have seen people hate him for that, which I do think is kind of silly because, yeah, as I agree, I feel like his reaction to that is pretty normal and pretty realistic. So, but yeah, I see people get mad at that. I also see people get mad at that, which is just really funny because I'm like, that's the whole point of Sayori. That was like the whole twist of this game. Like, everyone gets mad at MC for being like, oh my god, MC. The thing people get mad is also they get mad for him for not knowing that Sayori has depression. And I'm like, you, the player, don't even know she has depression. Like, how is he supposed to know if you didn't even know? Dragon King says, good example of how unimportant he is in the side stories. He isn't there besides a throwaway comment by Sayori mentioning her friend. Yeah, so like, he isn't really fully needed. I mean, it'd be cool to see, like, you know, for him to show up later or something in the side stories. That's why I made that whole custom mod kind of, you know, exploring what would happen if MC showed up later. You know, I'm not one of those people where I think the club's better off without him. You know, I'm not one of those people, but I would be lying if I acted as if they need MC, because I'm like, I don't think they need him. I mean, I think he adds a funniness to it, you know. I think he adds a comedy to it, you know. There's a reason why I still incorporate MC into my stories for my videos, because I do think he adds a lot. He has the ability to add a good amount of funny stuff to it and everything, but it's like, I don't think he's needed per se, you know. Oh my gosh, thank you for the raid, Fallen 9733. Funny is, I can relate heavily to MC, and that's fine. Just because you can relate to him, I mean, it's like, you can't really get mad at people for not considering him a character. That's mainly what I'm trying to say. If people find themselves relating to MC and everything, that's fine. You know, more power to you. It's just, you can't really be upset if anybody sits there and they're like, he's not really a fucking character, you know? If anyone really sits there and doesn't consider him a character, like, I feel like you should be able to understand why. Because out of all 4 of the girls, he is like the least interesting character in the game because he's not even a character. I saw someone say something where they were like, well, the side stories take place before the game. This is true, but that's not the point of what's being said here. The point is that the side story is still able to continue on without MC even being there. You know, like, he doesn't need to be there for these girls to exist. Because that's another reason why, because I've seen a lot of people, we were talking about merch earlier, I saw a lot of people replying to some of the merch stuff, being like, I really wish Dan would make MC merch, or why hasn't he made MC merch? And the thing to that is, like, there's how how would they kind of can't, because there's no canon visuals for the guy. And before anyone says, but we have what he looks like in DDLC plus, that's not an official, that's a concept. It's not an official canon look of him. That's a concept of the guy. He's not really a character, so it's like there's not really the canon thing we have of him is the back of his head. That is the most canon visual we have of him, is the back of this man's head. It's something where it's like, that's why they can't really make merch of him. Plus, who's really gonna buy that, to be honest? Telling me you think people are gonna buy the merch of the brown-haired man that they've never seen before? Like, some people will. Like, I'm not gonna act like there isn't gonna be nobody, but like, I don't think it's gonna sell out anytime soon. Like, I don't think people, like, it feels weird. I think MC is interesting solely on the fact that he's not included in a lot of DDLC stuff, but in some stuff he is. Well, yeah, but that's why he's not in stuff, because he's not interesting. Like, that's the reason why he's not in stuff, is because he's not interesting. The man is named main character, yet he's not irrelevant to the story, no merch. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Because I want to compare this too. Because, so, some visual novels, when it comes to main characters, I don't want to act like this is something, I don't want to act like this is something that, like, you know, is exclusive to DDLC. Because technically, some visual novels, they do tend to have MCs that aren't really that important. But some visual novels, the MCs are important. You know, they're very important. So much so, they actually get names. An example of this is Fate Stay Night. You know, if we're talking about visual novels, might as well talk about it. In Fate Stay Night, there is an MC. His name is Shiro. The entire game is essentially revolved around Shiro. Despite the fact that there are routes in Fate Stay Night, Shiro is one of the most important parts of that game. That game is all about him. Another example is Fruits of Grisaya. Yuji is the protagonist. The game is all about Yuji. Yes, there are girls' routes that you go down. Of course there are. But Yuji, the story revolves around him. In DDLC, the story does not revolve around MC. Like, it really doesn't. He is just a vehicle for us to talk to these girls. Like, we don't know anything about this guy, as I mentioned earlier. With Yuji and Shiro, as I mentioned before, we know a lot about them. They have backstories. They have lore. You know, they have reasons to do the things they do. MC and DDLC just does things because, well, we need to kind of just need to keep this going. Like, you know, we need to find a way to get here somehow. Yeah, like, again, if you like MC, that's fine, but I feel like people need to understand why he isn't really included in things. Like, that's why we don't really get merch of him. Honestly, the closest official thing I think we're getting to him is the fact that Satchely is creating art for an MC Sayori fanzine. And even then, that technically can't really be official because Satchely is creating art for a fanzine. It's a fanzine. That means technically this isn't really official. It's like kind of official. It's like, you can call it official if you want at the end of the day, I guess. You know, it's one of those things. A what? Oh, do I have to explain what a fanzine is? Fuck. So a fanzine is essentially like a magazine, but it's like full of art. And it's by like usually it's by like other artists and stuff. And they all come together and they usually create art of a thing. Like, usually it's like a theme that it follows, you know, like, you know, Like there'll be like if there was a Sonic fanzine, right? There would be a bunch of artists coming together to draw different Sonic stuff, and then you would turn the page, and there'd be art from different artists on each page. You know, like it's a magazine for fans. It's something for all fans to do and do that stuff. But yeah. The closest thing to that though is that Satchely is working on a piece of art for an MC Seo fanzine. You know, that's the ship, MCX Seo. So you know that's probably the closest thing people are probably gonna get to MC. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know if Satchel's gonna draw his face. Satchely might draw his face. Satchely might draw his face. Now part of me wants it to be the back of his head. Potential second MC back shot. Yeah, I'm like, a part of me wants it to be the back of his head. Oh god, it would be so funny. For example, there was a Psionica fanzine back in 2022. Oh yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, there was a Psionica. There was a lot of DDLC fanzines. There was a DDLC fanzine, like a straight up just normal one, like a long time ago. And I remember that because I was in the credits of that one, actually, because I donated towards that one. Yeah, there was like an actual DDLC fanzine like a long time ago. And I think they actually gave that one to Dan. Yeah, Yushine's. That's the one I was talking about, yeah. That was where I was like, there's one that Yushine, there was the one that Yushine did. That was like, that one was pretty cool. Because yeah, I donated towards that one. Yeah, that one. That was pretty cool. Yeah, my name's in that. You can find Afro Zero in the credits of that one because I donated towards that. That's also how me and Yushine became friends. Dan himself described DDLC as Monica's story, which I felt was a perfect way to describe that. I was like, because it's like the DDLC really is like, that is really what it is. Like MC really is not the focus of DDLC, like almost at all. And I think that's what someone else mentioned. They're like, mods make him way more interesting. And that is true. The reason why mods are able to make him more interesting is because of the fact that there was so little to work with in the base game. So it's like, you really could do almost anything with the guy. MC isn't the pro tag, he's just the POV. Is DDLC a second person story then? The first second person story visual novel. Like, I don't think we're getting any sort of MC merch anytime soon. That's all I have to say. I don't think it's happening. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the MC fans. It might be time to give it up. Like, I don't think it's happening anytime soon. Like, maybe it'll happen at some point in the future. Maybe they'll throw a bone. Maybe it'll be an MC keychain. Because like my thing is, I don't think he's getting like a Nendroid or anything. I don't think the guy's getting a Nendroid anytime soon. They might give us like an MC keychain or something. Actually, I feel like they've talked about that also. I think they actually talked about why there was no MC merch or something. I think they did. I could be totally wrong. Thought there was like a reason they gave. This was fun. I do want to do this more often. I don't know how often. I feel like I say that every time, but I mean, I'm gonna just say the truth here. I don't know how often these are gonna be. Mainly because, I mean, there's only so much I can talk about with stuff about this. Like, I mean, if I have a specific topic, then I'll probably do this. And then, you know, we can have smaller topics interspersed. Because the main reason why I did this was because of the merch stuff, right? Like, that was the main reason why this was able to be done, was because of all the new merch that we got. So I was able to talk about this and everything in the very beginning. Like, this was the main reason why this whole thing existed. I say that as I only had a picture of Natsuki on the screen. This is the main reason I'm pointing at Natsuki. Yeah, so this was the main reason why I think this entire thing even happened. So, you know, if something happens or I'm actually if I have a main conversation topic, then I totally would be fine doing another one of these in the near future. But until then, we don't really seem to have much. That's it for Doki discussions. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next discussion when we, I don't know, talk about ships. I don't know. Monica, thank you for the hiccup.
You're welcome.
Goodbye, YouTube.
Goodbye.